Sairam students, welcome back to your online class of English New Voices. Today we are going to study English New Voices, and in English New Voices we are going to start our new chapter. But before telling the name of the chapter, I am going to show you some pictures of the hints. You have to guess the name of the chapter. Okay? So, can you identify these characters? Let's see, would you identify these characters or not? Okay, I'm going to show you the pictures. Here is your first picture. Do you know this man? Who he is? Okay, now the second picture. Who is this? Who is sitting? Who is sitting here in the purple clothes? Might be possible you have seen the cartoon or had read the stories of these two characters and you know the name of these characters. But now I'm going to tell you the name of these characters. So the first character is Tenali Raman. Who is Tenali Raman? And here is the king who is sitting in a purple clothes. Who he is? He is Krishna-Dev-Raya. Krishna-Dev-Raya. He is Krishna-Dev-Raya. So, now I am going to start the chapter. See the chapter. So, the name of our chapter is Tenali Raman and the Two Thieves. We are going to study today's the story of the wise man whose name was Tenali Raman. So, this is the chapter number 13, Tenali Raman and the Two Thieves. This is the chapter number 13 of your English New Voices, and the name of the chapter is Tenali Raman and the Two Thieves. Okay, so now let's start with the chapter 13, Tenali Raman and the Two Thieves. It is very interesting story. In this story, the characters are, one is Tenali Raman, one is his wife, and the two thieves. And this is a story of a wise man, how he planned the things wisely so that he keeps his house safe from robbing from the two thieves. Okay, so let's start this story first. I'm going to read. You just have to listen carefully and then I'm going to explain the chapter. Once upon a time, there was a wise man named Tenali Raman. He used to work at the court of Emperor Krishna-Dev-Raya. I'm going to repeat it again. Once upon a time, there was a wise man named Tenali Raman. He used to work at the court of Emperor Krishna-Dev-Raya. So in this paragraph it is written that once upon a time there was a very wise man whose name was Tenali Raman. As I told you, he was working in the court of Krishna-Dev-Raya. Emperor Krishna-Dev-Raya's court he was working. Okay. Now the next paragraph. One summer night, when Tenali Raman was about to sleep, he heard the rustling of leaves. The sound came from the bushes outside. It is a hot night and there is no breeze blowing at all. How can the leaves rustling? The sound came from the bushes outside. What happened? I'm going to repeat it again. Listen carefully. One summer night, when Tenali Raman was about to sleep, he heard the rustling of leaves. The sound came from the bushes outside. It is a hot night and there is no breeze blowing at all. How can the leaves rustling of the sound came from the bushes outside? What happened? There was a very hot summer night. So that one particular night, Tenali Raman was sleeping with his family in his home. Then suddenly he heard that some leaves are rustling outside. Then, after hearing the sound of bushes outside, he thought that it is a very hot night and no breezes are blowing, no air are blowing outside. So how these leaves can be rustled? So he think that the sound came from the outside. It is a hot night and there is no breeze blowing at all. How can the leaves rustle on their own? Tenali Raman thought. He was thinking that how these leaves are rustling outside if there is no breeze outside. Then, being a wise man, he figured out that some thieves were hiding in the bushes. Being a wise man, he figured out that some thieves were hiding in the bushes. What happened? As I told you, he was very wise that even the Krishna Dev Raya also praised his about his wisery. So he figured out by his wise brain that might be possible there would be some thieves who are hiding inside the bushes and want to theft my house. They must be planning to rob my house in the night, he said to himself. He thought of a plan. He said to his wife, My dear, I have heard that some notorious thieves are roaming around in our neighborhood. What happened? See, I'm going to repeat it again. They must be planning to rob my house in the night, he said to himself. He thought of a plan. He said to his wife, My dear, I have heard that some notorious thieves are roaming around in our neighborhood. So, what happened? He was thinking and telling himself that might be possible that these thieves wants to rob my house. So he thought of a plan. He said to his wife that, My dear, I have heard that some notorious thieves that they are roaming around in our neighborhood. He told his wife that I heard the rustling of leaves. I am thinking that some of the thieves are outside and want to rob our house. So, as being a wise man, he planned something. So, see this paragraph. So, let's hide all the jewelry and money that we have in the well. A little later, Tenali Raman and his wife come out of the house carrying a big trunk and dropped into the well. Then they went back inside the house and pretended to be asleep. What happened? See the paragraph again. So let's hide all the jewelry and the money that we have in the well. A little later, Tenali Raman and his wife came out of the house carrying a big trunk and dropped into the well. Then they went back inside the house and pretended to be asleep. What they did, they hide all their jewelries in the well which is outside their house, and little later Tenali Raman and his wife, they go outside and put that big trunk inside the well which is outside their house, and the thieves were watching that. Okay, then the thieves waited for a while and then started drawing water from the well. They hoped to empty the well and get the treasure. The thieves kept drawing out water the entire night. Towards daybreak, they managed to pull out the trunk. I'm repeating again. The thieves waited for a while and then started drawing water from the well. They hoped to empty the well and get the treasure. The thieves kept drawing out water the entire night. Towards daybreak, they managed to pull out the trunk. What happened? When when Tenali Raman and his wife put the trunk inside the well, then the thieves were watching them. So the thieves waited for a while to let them asleep, and then they started drawing out whole water of the well out so that they can they can pull out the trunk. Then what happened? The thieves kept drawing the water whole night, and when the day breaks, that means the when the night gone and the morning is coming out, so they managed to pull the trunk out. It is that means it is a time of little bit morning when they finally able to pull out the trunk from the well. Then see what happened. But when they opened it, they were extremely disappointed. They found that the trunk was filled with big stones. The thieves understood that it was Tenali Raman's plan to outsmart them. Just then, Tenali Raman came out of his house and said, "Thank you, friends, for watering my plants. I must pay you for your labor." I'm repeating again. But when they opened it, they were extremely disappointed. They found that the trunk was filled with big stones. The thieves understood that it was Tenali Raman's plan to outsmart them. Just then, Tenali Raman came out of his house and said, "Thank you, friends, for watering my plants. I must pay you for your labor." What happened? When they opened the trunk, they were they were seeing the trunk, and they were just very disappointed, and they were very shocked that they found that the trunk was filled with the big stones. That means Tenali Raman is successful in his plan. He tried to outsmart them, and he finally accomplished his plan. Then, suddenly, after hearing the voice of opening the trunk, Tenali Raman came out and said to that thieves, "Thank you, friends, for watering my plants." Why he said this? Because they kept whole night the water out from the well. So the water they throw, it is going into the plants of the Tenali Raman. "I must pay you for your labor." He wants to say that I will pay you for that to watering my plants. So thank you so much. Hearing this, the thieves fell at Tenali's feet for forgiveness. They promised not to steal or rob anyone ever again. Repeating again, hearing this, the thieves fell at Tenali's feet for forgiveness. They promised not to steal or rob anyone ever again. What happened after hearing the sarcastic voice of Tenali Raman? They understands their mistake, and they fell they fell on the feet of Tenali Raman and asked for the forgiveness. And they promised to Tenali Raman that they will never ever steal anyone or rob anyone ever again. So finally they learn the lesson. Okay, so with this lesson, we have to understand that we have to be calm in every situation of life. We have to be think wisely if there would be any problem at our house or at our any person. So we have to think very calmly, no, not need to panic. If Tenali Raman would be panicked that the thieves outside, so might be possible the thieves will rob their house or they will hit them also. But he think about that very wisely. He think that and made a plan which was very wise and very praisable, so that the thieves could understand a better lesson. So that is why we have to think very calmly and very positively in every situation of life, in every happy moments, in every sad moments. We have to calm and think wisely. So I hope with this lesson you understand a good lesson. So thank you so much. and study well at your home and stay well.